I just want to start by saying what a thrill it is to sit across from you, man.
Oh, thank you very much.
I have been a big fan of your work for, like a lot of people say, many, many, many years. So.
Thank you very much. That's nice.
And kudos to you, directorial debut. What was the push that you had that said, you know what, I want to get behind? Not only do you star in this amazing film, but where you said, I want to direct now.
I'd wanted to do it for so long. For really almost as long as I can remember acting, I've wanted to direct. I've always felt like a filmmaker as an actor. I think if you're interested, you can choose not to be, but if you're interested in why the director is doing what he or she is doing, why the cinematographer is using the camera in the way they are, you are part of the, you're not just wheeled out to say your words and wheeled back to your trailer again, at least not in my case. And I've always had an interest in how a film is made, and I love working with a crew, and I have a technical side of my brain that works when I'm acting with the crew. There's things you have to think about. People are pushing the camera, or the focus pullers on a tight lens, or whatever. You should be aware of these things as you act, so that your performance is going on the screen. Otherwise it's out of focus, or you're out of shot, so part of your brain is filmmaking as you're acting. And I just wanted to experience the greater picture, the greater creative conversation from, in my case, it was from, the script that I had read and loved, written by John Romano, right to the very last day of our sound mix, 18 months later, when I walked away from the movie going, okay, that's it, I'm done, I can't do any more, that was it. So, I loved it. It was thrilling, and I felt like it was a great honor to be able to direct these actors and with this crew on Philip Roth's amazing novel,
Well, that would be my next question to you. How did this Pulitzer Prize-winning story that everybody raves about, how did it find its way to you?
I was given the script to read. I was doing a pilot for HBO in New York City. We were on another great American novelist, Jonathan Franzen's novel, The Corrections. We were going to do a 4-year adaptation of his book, 10 hours a year, for 4 years. And I was shooting this pilot, and I got given the script for American Pastoral from my agent. And I just fell for it. I fell for it very hard because the story. At first, it was the story about the father and the daughter. I've got 4 girls myself, so I know very much what that relationship is all about. And I've just broke my heart. I was reading about this dad who loses, in the 60s, loses his daughter to a political, sort of radical political group, and she becomes radicalized, and she ends up doing a terrorist act, and he loses her. She disappears. He doesn't know where she goes underground, and he doesn't know where she is.
Well, it's set in the 60s, and you bring something up that I wasn't even going to ask, but I do want to ask you this. Set in the 60s, but a lot of it could be relevant to what's going on now in our communities, our society. I'm not getting political, but tell me about that.
Of course, it's a very political novel. I mean, Roth's writing about America, and the story is about a family and a family crisis and tragedy, if you like. But he's using the family as a lens, I think, to write about this part of American history, which is so an extraordinary, difficult time, I guess, when the post-war American generation of the 50s collides with their children's generation of the 60s, when Vietnam is raging, and it's quite. It was a very, very difficult time, I guess, in American history. The country was very divided, and we find ourselves in a similar situation now. So there will, of course, be moments in the film that do make us reflect upon what's happening today. We see race riots that happened in Newark in '67. The film is about a girl who's radicalized and becomes a terrorist, and sadly we're dealing with that kind of thing in our society today. But the truth is, and I can say this honestly, it wasn't our motivation for making the film. It wasn't my motivation for making the film. I set out to try and make Philip Roth's brilliant novel, into a brilliant movie. And I felt like I was focused very much on telling the story that he was telling and set in that time. So, but I think like any great work, that's a bit arrogant, isn't it? But any good art will make us consider our own lives and our own experience and our own emotions about things. And so it'll cause us to reflect on today, I think.